This is the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast. For help with your retirement, schedule a 15-minute phone conversation with the team at ProStatus Financial Advisors today. Just call 866-597-1040 and at thesavvyinvestorradio.com.
Welcome back to the Savvy Investor Radio Show and Podcast with Mike Canet and Lawrence Kiely from ProStatus Financial as we sit down and talk through some of the issues that go into retirement planning and some of the things that you might be questioning and worried about. And if you're trying to do this on your own, you're not the only one. But if you make a mistake, you're also not the only one. Somebody wrote into one of the Ask the Advisor columns, and this person's been retired for 7 years. And he said, I did a lot right, but boy, if I had to do it over again, there are some things I would do differently. And at the top of his list was, I wasn't prepared for the complexity of taxes. So, Lawrence, we go into retirement with these accounts, 401ks, IRAs, and they're tax riddled. And do we need to become experts on taxes? What do we do about this, and what are some of our options here?
Well, you don't have to become an expert because that's why you have us, ProStatus, is to be the experts for you. But, what we do is we want to look at tax planning when it comes to retirement and the savings you have because it's so important to the plan, right? You don't want to lose 20 to 30% off the top due to taxes. So when we're looking at the contributions that we're making to whether it's our retirement plans or outside of our retirement plans to Roth IRAs or IRAs, we want to see how can we be tax efficient in making those contributions. I mean, we had some radio callers come in from the Crofton area the other day. Janet and Steve came into the office, and they had some good savings in their retirement accounts, and they were talking about they had a lot of discretionary income, and they wanted to make additional contributions, but they were trying to figure out how to do this in the most tax efficient way they possibly could. They were already maxing out their 401ks, and they were doing the Roth contribution, and they had previous advisors, so they were asking. They had heard us on the radio about the tax efficient strategies that we like to implement with our clients. So I asked them, did you know about the extra $40,000 you can put into a Roth IRA? And like Mike said, he was flabbergasted. Like, he was so surprised. His mind was crazy, and he didn't understand that. He was like, what are you guys talking about? And if you need this type of tax advice, if you've talked to your CPA, if you've talked to your advisor, and they haven't explained to you how you can actually implement tax strategies to put an extra $40,000 into your Roth IRA, you got to give us a call at 866-597-1040. Again, that's 866-597-1040. Reach out to us, talk to the team so we can talk about and implement the proper tax strategies so you can do that additional savings, so you can put an extra $40,000 into a Roth IRA account.
That's one of the things that, you hear something like that on the show here and you go, okay, how's that work? And can I take advantage of that? There's one way to find out. Give the team a call, 866-597-1040. 866-597-1040, or the SavvyInvestorRadio.com is the website, and you'll see a button there that says tax analysis, and you can click on that. You'll be on your way. Now, Mike, flesh this out for me a little bit. An extra $40,000, that seems like it's over every limit that I've ever heard. What's going on here?
Well, it was kind of interesting because after he brought this up with Steve and Janet, they left, and because they wanted to come back and get some information, but they wanted to go talk to their CPA and their advisor because they've been working with one of those advisors at one of those big box stores that handles the majority of everybody's 401k plans, and nobody ever told him about this. And again, he just wanted to make sure we weren't full of crap, and then he just wanted to verify what we were saying, and more importantly, he just wanted to know why the heck nobody told him for the last decade that he could put an extra $40,000 a year into his Roth IRA. Now, contribute, not convert, contribute basically an extra $40,000 every year, not cost him extra tax payments, not cost him anything extra money other than the $40,000. Because think about that, 10 years at $40,000 a year, $400,000 plus the growth that you were going to have. Imagine how easy and how wonderful that would be to have that flexibility to be able to pull money out of that bucket instead of going into the next tax bracket as you go through the retirement. You take money out of that tax-free bucket when you need extra money. And that's what Steve was thinking about. So he comes back to us and says, you know what? My CPA says you can't put $40,000 a year into a Roth. And I said, you're right. That's because you're working with a CPA who's not a tax planner. You're working with a CPA who's probably wonderful, incredible historian. He's probably wonderful about putting numbers on a page. Every single year, you bring him a bunch of documents, you tell him everything he asks, and then he puts numbers on a page for you. And he sends it into the IRS, nice, clean, no problems whatsoever. He's happy, you're happy, you paid him, and you got zero tax advice. And the fact is your guy on the phone, when you pick up the phone, he has a little box that he's checking and reading from the big custodian company. He's reading these boxes, and if you ask him a question, he's not allowed to give you tax advice. But this is what I told Steve to do. You go to your employer and you tell them that you want to put an extra $40,000 a year, every single year, into your 401k. And Steve said, oh, no, you can't do that. I know I can undo the 23.5, and that's what it was at the time, the 23.5 plus the catch-up provision. So really, I can undo $32,000 every year. And I was like, yeah, that's what they tell you, Steve, but that's not the facts. The facts are you could put, in the year he could do it, it was $70,000, Steve. You could put $70,000 into your 401k. Now, they don't tell you about it. They don't share that information with you about it. The advisor on your 401k never talks to you about it. Your advisor at the big custodian guy never talks to you about it. Your CPA never talked about it. But thank God you sat down with Lawrence, and thank God Lawrence brought it up, because now you have 4 more years before you retire. That's going to allow you to put better part of $160,000 into your Roth tax-free. And here's what happens. You put that extra $40,000 into your 401k. And you immediately, or as soon as possible, roll the 401k, just the $40,000 that you put in as after tax, and you roll it right into a Roth. No tax, happens immediately, no penalties. The 401k allows you to do it, allows you to roll it out immediately because it's your own money. There's no vesting, nothing's going on, no tax bill. You didn't get a tax deduction. All you got was an extra $40,000 for the next 4 years of your life, $160,000 plus the growth, tax-free, because you picked up the phone and gave Lawrence a call. Pick up the phone, give us a call, 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. Sit down with Lawrence, myself, and our team here, and we will show you how to create income streams you'll never outlive. We're going to talk to you about how much you're paying in fees, long-term care, how much risk you're actually taking. We're going to talk about estate planning. And folks, taxes. Imagine being able to put away an extra $40,000 a year into a Roth and nobody told you about it. How pissed would you be when you got to retirement, or you finally picked up the phone and came to us? Or that guy, the guy you were talking about that said, the biggest mistake I made was not understanding the tax complexity. And you know what? This was one little simple thing that we talked to Steve and Janet about. There are so many different things that you can be addressed from a tax perspective. Imagine selling your business for $75 million and paying 0 taxes. Did you know that's possible? $75 million selling your C Corp, 0 taxes if you do it the right way. Pick up the phone, 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040.
And Mike, that is one of the things, as people go out and look for their financial advisor, many times they do not look at things through the lens of taxes. And one of the things that you built ProStatus Financial on that foundation. As a matter of fact, you actually teach other financial advisors how to use these things. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was actually kind of interesting. I guess a couple of weeks ago, I was out in Atlanta, and a big company brought me out for about better part of about 300 advisors. It was a 2-day conference, all sorts of things going on, but they wanted me to get up on stage and actually teach these guys some tax planning strategies. And it's amazing, and I'm not trying to be egotistical about it, but up on stage, I'm talking about tax planning, and my allotted time was about 45 minutes, and about an hour and 15 minutes later, I finally got ushered off the stage because there were so many questions these advisors were asking. It in the back of my mind, I appreciated the fact that they wanted to learn, and I appreciated the fact that they were hungry for information. And Ryan and myself and our team here, we actually work with about 20 other financial planning firms, teaching them how to actually run a practice and teaching them how to do tax planning. But the amount of knowledge and just the basic stuff, not understanding, we talked to them about the mega backdoor Roth. They didn't understand how that worked. It was shocking. They didn't even understand little things like, your business can rent your house from you and you pay no taxes on the rental income. You do it correctly. They didn't understand that. They didn't understand, I was talking to them about, for people with high net worth, high income streams, right? If for some reason you have a bunch of income, a bonus or something comes into play, I was explaining to them that, look, you could buy a piece of real estate, and I'm just making up. If your tax bill is going to be $100,000, you have a choice. Put $100,000 into the tax bill, right? Pay Uncle Sam, or take that same $100,000, put it as a down payment on a piece of real estate, maybe a $500,000 condo someplace, 20% down, and get a $250,000 or $200,000 tax write-off immediately to offset the taxes you were going to have to pay in the first place. So you could either take $100,000 and go buy a piece of real estate that's going to be an asset that's growing on your behalf, or give it to Uncle Sam. And the people in the audience were, oh, you can't do that. All these rules are involved. And I was like, yeah, all those rules are applicable. I don't deny any of those rules. That's why you have to have a tax advisor and a tax practice like mine who understands how to use the rules. And the fact is that most people think that you can only have $25,000 worth of losses when you have a rental property. That's not true. You just have to set it up correctly. You have to rent it out correctly. You have to handle it correctly. And these guys were just, the thirst for knowledge. Like I said, I was supposed to be on stage for about 45 minutes. And I was done with my presentation in about a half an hour because I knew I'd have questions, but almost an hour of questions, a follow-up. And I only talked to them about 3 issues, 3 things they could do. And literally, it was an hour worth of questions because they're so hungry, they're so thirsty for knowledge because our industry is so myopic. It's sell you annuity, sell you an investment strategy, and I did my job. That's it, right? That's what they all do. And some of them do both, some of them do one or the other, but at the end of the day, they are, and I take that back. Right now, the flavor of the month is, everybody should be doing Roth conversions. And even then, we get people coming in all the time talking about Roth conversions, and they're doing it wrong. We have people that come in and pay way too much tax on the Roth conversion because they didn't understand they didn't have to convert the way they thought they were going to do. And it's only by working with a company like ours that truly understands the intersection of creating income, of having strategic allocations, the estate plan, and the tax plan. You have to have all those pieces put together. And that was what Lawrence was alluding to. He said, having that comprehensive plan is where it all starts. That's how you can make informed decisions on tax planning, on retirement income. Can I retire today? Do I have to work 3 more years? Can I leave $1 bazillion for my kids? All that starts by having a comprehensive plan. Pick up the phone, 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. Sit down with Ryan, Lawrence, myself, my entire team here at ProStatus. We're going to show you how to create income streams you're never going to outlive. We're going to talk to you about fees. We're going to talk to you about long-term care, estate planning, and folks, taxes. It is absolutely insane to lose 20 to 30% of your revenue every single year to taxes just because you failed to plan. What's that old saying? Fail to plan to fail? Yeah. Right? Isn't that what it is? Yep. Pick up the phone, 866-597-1040.
There's 75 to 100,000 pages in that tax code. Do you know them? I don't. I don't want to. But Mike can help you guide through that. That's why he's
75,000 pages. Not all 75. I can't do all 75.
Okay.
I got about 10,000 of them down.
Well, give Mike a call and let's get him to work for you. 866-597-1040. 866-597-1040, or use the website, thesavvyinvestorradio.com. There's a place there, a button that says schedule a call. Just start right there. Click on that. It's a 10 to 15-minute call to find out what you've done for retirement, what you want to do in retirement. Let's put it all together, and let's put some tax planning in your retirement plan. Again, 866-597-1040 or thesavvyinvestorradio.com. That's going to do it for today for the Savvy Investor Radio Show and podcast. Lawrence will give you the last word on this one.
This is Lawrence Kiely. Thank you for listening to the Savvy Investor Radio Show and podcast.
And this is Mike Canet. We'll see you, the Savvy Investor, next week.
Advisory services offered through ProStatus Financial Advisors Group, a registered investment advisor. Insurance licensed in Maryland. ProStatus Financial Advisors Group, LLC is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if ProStatus Financial Advisors Group is licensed in your state, please call 410-863-1040. ProStatus Group, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through representatives of ProStatus Financial Advisors Group.